Dr. Ja, I just wanted to say that, when you and Dennis introduced me to you, chemistry is so foreign to me. It's so it's like almost like death. It's unknown. And in our conversations yesterday, you were breaking it down in a way that actually had me intrigued and made me want to learn more about it. It was like you were speaking my language. And I just thought that, you have all these principals in the room. And I just think that it would behoove them to get you with the students to talk that talk in that language and let them know that people that talk like this can do this. It's not unknown. And talking a language, like one thing that we were speaking about yesterday that stuck with me was, it's about an equation, and there's different ways to get to the equation, but they only teach you one way. But at the end of the day, chemistry is going to the future, looking at what you want the equation to be, and then figuring out the path to get there. And that made it really logical to me. So I just was like, damn, I just wish that when I was younger, someone spoke to me like that and made me understand it. Yeah. So I think what you're doing is dope, and I think more people need to see it.
And I appreciate that, Damon. To be honest with you, I learned that from how you broke down business and the way you broke down business and the way you communicated that. I said, if I understood business in that way, I wish I had somebody teach me that, but I need to do that through chemistry. Right. Because what I've learned in chemistry, in regards to especially scientists, we talk a lot of jargon, but sometimes I think that jargon goes over people's heads. And they will say, okay, we'll just trust the science because it sounds like you know what you're talking about. But I think sometimes we need to work as overall science. I'm not saying there's some few that know how to communicate both layman's terms and also the scientific language. But I think the duality needs to increase in the sciences, because if we're talking to people like principals and the masses, we need to understand that they do not speak the language that we speak. And we have to make sure that we communicate in a way that they not only receive it well, they still have the respect for us as they always do. But in the midst of that, they also understand clearly in their own mind to say, okay, this is why I trust you. Not, I'm just going to trust because I believe you know what you're talking about. It's the concept of, I know that I trust you because you made it so simple to me, right, that it's understanding.
It's logical. Yeah. And also it might, because now I'm understanding you have to be kind of good at math. It might make someone want to be better at math to get to these equations. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dr. J, Dr. What is his name? Our principal Leon had a question in the chat. Leon, April, you want to ask him? Want to ask Dr. J? Don't go nowhere, J.
Yes. Dr. J, pleasure. I'm extremely proud. I'm proud of you, brother. Continue to do your thing. But I would like to know, have you written curriculum that's available to share or to purchase?
Yes. So my company, Elite Universal Network, the company I founded, I've written curriculum for other people, but I do have one on my website that you can take a look at and you can see what you think. Because although I've written a lot of curriculum, and it's mainly for middle school, but yes, I've written curriculum to answer your question. I have written some for the science. But it's based off different sciences throughout the year. But strictly for chemistry, I did it in higher ed, but I haven't done it on a lower level, not lower level, but K-12.
Well, you're going to come to this.
Well,
sorry.
You're speaking in layman's terms. You're speaking the language of our children, and I'm sure there are many other principals on here who are going to take advantage at looking at what you have available. But I would really love for you to consider expanding that curriculum for our children, because it's much needed. And who better than to write the curriculum, but to have somebody that looks like them who can share a similar story, so they can feel success as they live it and learn it.
Also, I want them to come down to the studio and do a visual class, because I want them to see you and hear you. And I think that's what's so impactful, is to see you. You know what I'm saying? So come down here, bro. Just book a week and let's just knock it out.
Nah, I already got the connection. I just need to sit down and do a date and time. I just need to connect with you, Dave, and see what's the best time for you.
Anytime, bro. As long as we healthy, I'm good. Bring some of that vaccination too. They ain't got it out here for us yet. Word.
No doubt. And so, Dr. J, again, I don't want us to lose sight of the importance
Yes.
of discussing the learning loss, right? And again, the things that you're doing is real. Like, we're not talking about somebody who's that far removed from the classroom that he or she's just coming up with theoretical, solutions to this. Like, you're doing the actual work. And I think that there's, if you kind of look in the chat, I mean, everybody's been asking, like, all right, how do I get in touch with you? Like, give me your vendor number. I want you to come and do this. Now, you and I had a similar conversation about this before this, and I told you that it would probably lead to such a thing. But it's critical. It's critical for you to recognize that if I don't know another black chemist in the world, I know one now. And as a young man who's doing some amazing things, I think it's fitting that you're standing alongside some of the most amazing leaders across this country. And I know that that's the thing that has drawn you to us. And I know that you talked to us about it in the past. You talked to us about it this morning. So I applaud you. I applaud you for being persistent and not, not giving up. Like, you just, again, you slid in and that was it. You just sat there.
We have a camera?
Absorbed as much as you could and everything.
Go ahead.
Well, it's because staying on top of the learning laws.
We have a camera for
because that I always want to keep my ear to what's actually happening. I keep my ear to North Philadelphia, but actually what's happening around the United States in regards to what's happening with our kids. Because my whole thing is, if we don't invest in the future, which is the kids, we not really investing in the future. So, I mean, if we don't take care of the future not going to take care of us. And the future is our kids and our children, and what we doing for them through education. Because whatever we put into them will come right back probably 15, 20 years from now. So in regards to the learning laws, what I'm noticing with the remote learning is that you see students that really learning better, or some students, but I think it's because this generation, and this generation is more into what's going on with the technology than sometimes the teachers or the educators. Like for me, I'm a millennial. So I deal with non-tech and also tech. But like I said before, I had to adjust a little bit because of the fact of the matter. I'm like, okay, I did Zoom before, but how can we make it engaging and learning and make sure the students don't lose that quality? But I believe that with that quality education is all about, one, knowing your classroom, knowing your students, but also with knowing your students, whether they have individual education plans or not. That depends on if they will lose that quality of learning or not. So with that individual education plan, I'm thinking, okay, this student, I know I have to do these accommodations, so I'll deal with the student this way. But for everybody who doesn't have it, they can learn at their own pace, which makes them feel much better. As I think what you was speaking on last night, it makes them feel much better because it's like, okay, now I can move and don't have to, I can engage myself in this content and find out what
So Dr. J, don't move real quick. Dr. Small wants to ask you a question, but before Dr. Small, Priscilla Etchie, you in the house? Priscilla Etchie. Where's Priscilla?
She's here. I think she is double dipping doing something. She in prayer mode right now. I think her attention may be someplace. But Priscilla, if you're able to come off of mute, but I don't think she is because she's doing something.
Priscilla, hey, P, we see you, Priscilla.
He wants me to unmute.
What's up, Priscilla? So we know,
hey guys.
you know.
Hey.
So Priscilla,
Put this on.
like we talked about earlier, the head of the Urban League, Miami Dade, I spoke with him earlier, and a lot of that has to do with my sister Priscilla, who's actually, are you still in the office with him?
Yes, I am. I'm still sitting right here. He's giving me so much words and gems right now. We have met one of the greats, one of the pillars of history. I am honored to sit in front of this man right now. He has given me so much jewels. I almost didn't want to share him with you. I was like, wait a minute, he is amazing.
It's like that piece? It's like that piece?
Yo, I'm just like, oh my God. Listen, would you honor them with your face? Could they see you? Pretty please. This is my family right here. And they just want to see you. and salute you. He's been with Dr. King. He's been with all of the greats, and he is a wordsmith. He is chosen by God, and we're going to do some extraordinary things together. He's incredible. Incredible.
Like I'm ready to say all that.
He said he paid me to say all of that.
Y'all still $5. So I know you got a chance to hear, some this young man.
You guys good?
Some of what you and I shared earlier is that you guys have a similar outlook on what's best for children, and when it comes to education, when it comes to community development, when it comes to all aspects of what the Urban League stands for. I think a partnership or to have a group of people like OSG, this family, to be able to call on if you guys need anything down in Miami is a great thing. So if you can, just tell us real quick about what's going on in Miami at this point, and what you guys at the Urban League are doing.
Well, there is the...
What's going on?
Huh?
What's going on?
Robin, do you guys want anything to eat? Are you thirsty? Anything?
Say something.
Game Dash Studios is available today.
Are you hungry or thirsty?
I'm on the
Okay.
That they need to
Zoom
make
with the
their
New York
life
OSG 90
Oh,
back.
okay.
go back and get them.
Be right then.
I got the team here, the tech team.
We are in
Got the whole crew that built it. We started something from scratch, revolutionary. Everyone will be copying.
We're not on their page.
Go to Dame Dash Studios
We
to check
think
it out.
that we have to be self-sufficient as an organization. That if you're going to do the things that you have to do in order to do those things, you cannot be
So
dependent
you just chilling, just looking at the Zoom.
So we decided that we
Huh?
need
Yeah,
to be
they're
able to
calling
sign
you
our check on the front and the back.
All right.
And when you do that, then you can also set the agenda and behave the way you want to behave. I got sick and tired of folks saying, well, we don't like what you said last week, boy. So we're not going to write you no check. Because we don't like what you said. So we talked about self-sufficiency, and we made it a reality. I guess I'm the only not-for-profit in Liberty City, and the only in the movement that didn't miss a payroll, didn't lay off anybody, paid all of my vendors on time, because when the pandemic came, I had $8 million in the bank. I'm the largest developer of affordable housing. I have 2 for-profit corporations, and they exist to make money so I can do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with whom I want to do it to. And there can be no repercussions. So you cannot talk about being free if you keep asking other folks to pay for your ticket to freedom. We understood very clearly that we need to be able to do what we wanted to do. And as long as we were dependent upon others, then we couldn't get it done. We have to behave their way. So we're financially independent. And it felt so good to tell those new born-again integrationists who wanted to say we want to help you because Black Lives Matter. It didn't take George Floyd to be killed for me to understand it. I knew my life mattered all the times I was demonstrating. That's why I never got killed. Going forward. So we made it very clear that we're going to be independent. We also were very clear about what's broken. So we spend no time talking about what white folks can't do. We talk about what we got to do, no matter what they do or don't. We understand clearly that it ain't about racism. It's about who will achieve. So coming out of the pandemic, what we're saying is, if you want the rest of your life to be the best of your life, then you got to live the rest of your life like colored people live the best of their life.
You better teach them.
People think that what we're seeing now is what we should have seen when things were really cold. When the water was white and cold. When the sign said, you go there and they go here. If you would think the outrage that we should have seen it then. So the question becomes, why didn't we? Because colored people understood clearly that the formula for survival is in your head, not in their emotions. And therefore they did what they had to do in order to believe. They also clearly understood that it's about having a power greater than yourself. So everybody who is my age belongs to somebody's church. Everybody with my age believes that no matter what white folks did, the law was going to make a way. By and by. There was a set of principles that all children in things were color was raised. I got a couple of doctor classes, and I was told that out of 54 children, only 2 of them knew the Lord's Prayer.
Come on.
That was just unheard of when I was growing up. And I'm an 18-year-old colored man, so I speak from experience in 18 years.
Come on.
So clearly, what we got between our power greater than ourselves and our power greater than what we said we were supposed to be. So part of what we know we got to do is restore pride to the church in our community. We got to make sure that the churches understand that they're in the community, but they're no longer part of the community. That they've got to come outside and get the folks. I did a time and motion study on my own first paid for it myself, and this the time we looked at it, 97% of all the people who come to my church drive in. Drive in. If you look at all the 13 churches in my village, 70 to 85% of all the folks who go to those churches are RD. Which means that there ain't no church presence emotionally, socially, behaviorally in the community. How to deal with that, because a lot of people believe that the law will make a way somehow. It's not by accident, but by design. That's the thing that we say.
Right. What?
Let me jump in real quick. So let me jump in real quick. You know, and I think it's important that what you're talking about, you know, we don't lose sight of the fact that young people remain the center of what we're trying to accomplish here. That, you know, we've lived the life. We've done amazing things as an adult. But I think what we got to keep in mind is that when just these past few days, when I was down in Miami and down in Dade County, what I saw wasn't necessarily what was wrong with Miami. I saw what the potential could be with Miami. And when I saw those young people out there looking for something, they looking for something. And sometimes they need to be able to see who we are. They need to see that educators can look like me. The educators can look like Dr. J. Educators can look like Jane Dash and other people as well. So I think it's important that that we keep connected, you know, us along with what you guys are doing down in Miami and down with the Urban League, that we want to be able to help in any way we can, but I think young people need to see us as an example of what can be, and not necessarily just keep turning on social media and everything else. So I applaud you for the work that you're doing down there, and I want you to know that you have a family up here that's willing to support the work that you do and the work that you're doing to try to change those communities around there, because we just spent some ladies and myself just spent some time down there with Alonzo Moon and another good friend, Mel Rowland, and we know that change is happening down there. It may not be happening at the pace that people may want, but we know that your work isn't in vain.
We have allies. We have allies in the community, and sometimes we got to put this together.
That's right. That's right.
Well, in my village, 81% of the households are headed by women. 81% of the households are headed by women. I have a group of men called men. Because the most important thing is that I've got to have men who are not dressed in victims.
That's right.
Who are walking the streets every day.
That's right.
It's not for me to have celebrities like you to come in and show them that they can be God. But the pressure of the absence of men who live every day is what they have to deal with. So when you leave, Bubba on the corner saying you need to
my chain.
because you don't survive. So I've got to change the attitude. I want to make sure that we restore back to that community the right kind of live. That's why I'm the largest developer of affordable housing and workforce housing in the community.
But what I want
Because what I'm trying to do also is to bring back the regular guy.
That's right.
Who every day is
What I
putting
want
out.
y'all to know though, but hold on a second. Well, here's what I want you
Here to that. Here to that.
You ain't got to do it by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
What's happening, bro?
said all the partnerships and I trust y'all.
Come on now.
But I'm just saying that at the end of the day, having been doing it for 57 years, having been fired 48 times, that I found out very clear that what's broken in Liberty City cannot be imported into fiction. That I can bring in all the James Browns and everybody else in the world.
I see his little onesie.
But when you leave,
You see his onesie, got his own little onesie.
saying, man, you ain't got on the right
shot.
I gotta change the environment of the rough and everything's level.
Yeah.
So we gotta come together and create transformation.
And so Priscilla,
You got a little photo on.
Dr. J, come back up here. Dr. J, come back up.
Planting transformation is what he's talking about. Planting transformation so it grows.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let me see Knowledge Small.
Onesie. She's outlaw bib.
Knowledge Small, Dennis. What's going on, Doc? I know you had a question that you wanted to. Alright, I know you wanted to mention something to. I want you to mention something to Dr. J. And
Yeah, I gave you now.
like that, but you're gonna have to keep
I'm
the
on
noise
another
down.
zone with the principals.
You hear me?
I know if
I'm
everybody.
in the ad-lib.
Like
Because we launched the app today.
I'm tired of being black. When the elders
Talk to him. Talk to him.
No
She
background.
locked in looking at you, right?
Elder speaks for herself.
Elder Uncle, my apologies. Permission to speak, Elder. Thank you.
Huh? Yeah.
So what's up, Priscilla? Now we
locked in.
we appreciate you and everything like
But he gets
that.
restless.
You can't be messing up. You can't be messing up the content. This stuff.
Maria, mommy.
You're having a church moment.
Yeah, you texted to me?
I wanted to mention something to Dr. J in a moment, and I know even this conversation aligns. I know that that's what I'm thinking. So come on,
Yeah,
in,
you
Doctor.
still got their advertisement. Powered by Sopranos, biggest Dave Dash Studios. You guys are funny. You guys are really funny.
And it wasn't my
Huh? You guys are funny. You're good. That's they're the ones that built it.
As usual, probably get me in trouble.
Yeah,
Say something that
we partners? All right. Someone's not crazy, man. Shit. That's it. Hello?
so when I look at
So, yeah.
If we're going to be revolutionary, we're going to be about fundamental change. We really got to
I'm got, all the principles on there, so I'm
so
going
the
to
question
subscribe.
has to do with learning
That's
loss.
what I'm ready for
You
you.
know, are we perpetually negotiating that our children are at school? Because when they talk about learning loss, they're talking about how children fundamentally are going to perform on the test, right? And what I know is learning is still happening, right? But the question is, what is being learned, right? Our children are learning resilience. Our children are learning creative problem solving. Our children are learning how to increase their technological
That's real good.
ability.
That's real
So what are
good.
we looking
I'll find
at
out.
when we examine the idea of learning
talk
loss?
to the senator
And
there,
are
but
we just
she
perpetuating
said,
the
let's go
idea
for it.
that learning loss is what's occurring because somebody else said that's what's occurring? So
I mean, I'm gonna tell them about it.
Hold on, Dennis.
Yeah, and then also
Think
Andre
about
Carson.
children and their capacity of learning, what's important in the learning, because for me,
Yeah.
math school and
He was in the building when they was running up in there. He FaceTimed me.
success. When I look at those success,
Sending me video. Andre Carson. Congressman Andre Carson. Yeah, Indiana.
They're not people who
Like, she looking at you?
They didn't do really well on standardized tests because they were educated and not schooled. So again, if we're
Smile, guy?
looking at somebody else's notion of learning loss instead of examining what type of learning actually is happening.
He tried to touch it, he tried to throw his hand.
From a deficit
Before you
rather
do.
than growth mindset. So I just kind of want to throw that out there to expand the conversation around the idea of learning loss, because something's being learned.
You trying to talk too.
In boxing, yeah, you're learning something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, what is it that
we're valuing in our learning, or are we perpetuating the other people's values and how other people rate the learning?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Dr. Smith, you 100% right yourself.
We worked hard for this one.
Is because the mindset that the kids are experiencing learning loss. Again, if a child was experiencing poor instruction before,
they're funny as hell.
For the
and so bringing a guy like Dr. J,
can we make a playlist
what we talk about,
you showed them your ring?
is that we're doing something.
Oh, y'all ain't gonna say nothing about the ring? I see it. It's right there. Y'all ain't funny about it. Yeah, well, tell us what it was. The only way I can show it to you is to buy it.
No problem. And so when you see guys,
all right, congratulations.
I see other educators here. Right? So that's happening with their generation, what they're doing. Saying, I think the next part, which is, following instructions. I think those things need to be highlighted. And I'm not here to point out it from the deficit model, because I think I was that I wanted you to know that I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that everybody's suffering learning loss, especially the kids that you come in contact with. People that come in contact with young people and young teachers who are doing great things like you are and stuff like that. So I didn't want to pass up that opportunity to say, nah, Dr. Snow, you're not in trouble with me on that.
I dropped it.
Like I said, I prefaced that conversation with
Say that again?
Dr. J earlier.
I relaunched the streamer service.
What you're doing,
yeah, the network is going to be on television. That's going to launch in March.
Kyle Brown, I have a question for you. Kyle, come on in, Kyle.
Hey, Dr. J.
March 1st.
Can you hear me?
You good, man.
I had to step away for a second, and I came back. So hopefully no one actually mentioned what I'm about to say to you. But as a high school principal, I need for you to encourage African American chemists to come into the classroom. If any principal that's a high school principal is on the line right now, they probably want to get up and do a dance like they in church with that statement I just made. The difficulty for finding a chemistry teacher. Let's just start there. I'm not talking about a good chemistry teacher. I'm not talking about a teacher that can connect with our students. I'm talking about finding a chemistry teacher, period, is hard. Then when you go from there, you start getting into questions as you interview the person, and during the course of the interview, you see immediately that whoever is the administrator over that teacher, they will be spending lots and lots of time in that classroom because that teacher cannot communicate, and this is in various different ways, or connect with the students. We need some of our African American chemists out there to come to the classroom. We need it badly.
And I agree. I definitely agree, because when I came in, I heard exactly what you were saying, and the challenge that I noticed was that, like, for me, it was a learning curve for me in terms of the education. I grew up with parents being educators, but me personally, like you said, that connection, I had the cultural connection, but the communication I had to really work with. And as I worked on it, I realized now, oh wow, now I'm learning something from the students which I didn't know before in terms of just how to communicate with them. Because I would say, agree with you were saying, there was a disconnect, because we get caught up in our own jargon and saying, well, the students should know this, the students should know this, the students should know this. And I even hear this in higher ed, the students should know this, the students should know this. And it's like, it's not about they should know or they have to get it as soon as you explain it, but it's all about that communication piece like you talking about. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think also with the add in there, not just the representation, but understand that the chemistry teachers have to know why they're there and not just be there for a check, because that's what I've noticed in my realm with my realm in terms of STEM, just professionals, everybody's looking to get a bag, or everybody looking to just get the check, and that's why they don't go into education and they go into industry and all these things. My challenge, and like you said, I tell them the same thing. I said, it's not about that. Let's invest in the future so your future can take care of you. You know, because that's temporary. The professionalism and all of that is temporary. But what I also notice is when they get all that experience, they then come back when they're old, but they don't realize they can't connect to the generation. Yes, you got all this knowledge, but let's try to do it in a way that's simultaneous. Be one step forward here and one step in education, because now you provide a reality approach, and that's what I'm doing here, and that's what I'm doing with my life. I'm one step here in application mode, but I'm also educating them on the side. So when they step out, they won't be in the loss of 5 years behind in terms of careers, especially in chemistry. Like in chemistry, what's happening now, you got the cannabis going on. But with the cannabis concept, people look at it as a negative connotation. But on the chemistry side, it's a great connotation, because now you start seeing the different strands and all of these things in regards to the connection. But again, people rather chase the bag rather than actually trying to educate and invest in the future long term. So we have to, in terms of chemistry teachers, or getting chemists back in the classroom, I charge and I say, as a chemist, we have to be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Whether if it's teaching in regards to like a substitute or some way, because the challenge is the teachers who are teaching science, they're teaching all the things that they need in terms of concepts, but they're also, I believe, there needs to be some application with the career. And if the chemistry teachers come in and have their career on one side, they do that part-time, but being a teacher full-time, I think we'll definitely send our students in the right way.
Don't go nowhere, KB, don't go nowhere real quick. Hold on 1 second. So, Dr. J, I think what you said was critical, but go back to what you and I talked about earlier. We are not, it's not about the now. It's about what are we doing to give our young people an understanding of what's to come. Let them see that this is a possibility. You know what I'm saying? It may be difficult to get that stuff or get that chemistry teacher right now, but 20 years from now, this should not be a problem. Hence, that's why I charge you with the responsibility to tell the world that you are a black chemist doing amazing things, and you got swag too. You got what I'm saying? That's important for our young people to see. And while I just talked about that, just to kind of, don't go nowhere, Kyle. I want to bring in another Brown. Travis Brown, what's going on, man? Principal of Farrell's Academy in the Bronx. Yo, Travis, you on here?
What's up, brother? Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, Trav? So I know you had your hand up as well. But I want, again, I want you to see when our young people get to see this in terms of what young men can grow up to be like, and that we don't have to change who we are, that we can still we can still be swagged out, we can still be dripped out, we can still have a good time laughing and joking, and still be educated, man. This is the picture that young people need to see. So I want you to kind of see what's in front of you and say that if young people get to see this 20 years from now, 15 years from now, 10 years from now, then we'll have more of us in this conversation. So what's up, Trav?
I just want to take the opportunity first to say, much respect to Dr. Jai. You're doing incredible job, man. As people said, representation matters. My question to you is,
chemistry questions.
I believe that from my experience, schools don't, especially schools that service black and brown kids, we don't do science education well. Part of it is the mandates from that we focus on ELA and math a lot, and we don't do science education well. And I think we kill kids in science careers from the beginning, really. And so my question to you is, that you've been around schools, you're supposed to educate, what can schools do differently, especially in the elementary grade, to keep the curiosity going? Because without curiosity, you can't become scientists. Without really planting the seeds and getting kids interested in knowing the world, you can't become a scientist. So what can schools do differently to really plant the seeds to actually create scientists? Because we see, I run a K-12, and we see when kids get to high school, Science is not in their future. And if we look at the stats, Black and brown kids run from STEM careers. They built an entire school in New York City, Cornell Tech. I don't know if everybody knows the politics behind that, but Black and brown kids are not there. We're not in these programs in colleges. So what have you learned from your experience that schools can really glean from to do science education better?
What I've done is, I can speak from my experience. What I've done is I stepped into working with little kids and really just showing little experiments and creating that experience for them to try to hook them in to see what can be
y'all called during that time.
They see me.
Good.
Then they hear what I told, and I think that's the representation. First, you got to bring people into the room that look like us. That's number one. And secondly, like Dennis said, have that swag and actually have that communication piece as well. But the third, do something that's fun and engaging with those particular kids. And it don't have to be a whole thing. It don't have to be like an instruction. It can be fun. Like I said before, the ice cream. Before I did that video, that's what I was doing in Philadelphia. I just came in, let's make some ice cream today. We're going to go to an ice cream store. And that gets them wrapped up. But then from there, I teach, okay, now we're going to walk you through what's the concepts as the ice cream. And I throw my lab coat on and, I have a snapback like Dennis had with my snapback. So it makes it look cool. Like, although he got the lab coat and he got the snapback, the way I communicate, and it helps him. But then when I leave, if the teacher want to connect, we do we sit down and I show them the curriculum because I don't just do stuff just out of the blue. It's a system that I have. So with that system, I said, well, here's basically right now, this is what I do. And so I show them, okay, 10 minutes I engage with them, icebreakers, things of that nature, do it systematically so they can do it too. But they saw the model and what that looked like. So that's one way. Another way I think is through for K to 12 is just a professional development, what that looks like. Like what does that actually look like, and how we can not only just have representation but have that funness as well. So like right now is Black History Month. I wish, and I'm next time charge to get more Black scientists, Black STEM professionals in here, or mainly Black chemists, to show that we're here, number one, but actually show some exposure, and they have culture with them as well to actually see, okay, we're doing the science, but here's somebody that can show us what he doing on a daily basis and have fun with us. And I think that connection piece there will help help students from the younger grades to see what can happen. So by the time they hit high school, it's not new to them, or it's not like, hey, this is chemistry. Hey, it's more math. Because one thing I think a lot of individuals need to understand is the science is nothing more. So math is nothing more than a language of science. So, math is a language of science. So essentially, what that means is you using math, but math you tie a little story to the math, and now you got a science going. So that's another way. So it's multiple ways. Yes.
But y'all, let me say this, right? Because I think what that question that Travis asked is important, because again, I'm gonna charge you with that. Like, you come in here next week, make sure you have another Black chemist with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, have somebody who's doing that as well. Because I think it's important for us to see it, right? We can talk about what I think Dr. Small and I usually agree on this, that from the deficit model of what's not there doesn't actually help the cause. Let us see more of what's happening. Like, be able to reproduce yourself as much as possible. When I look at what's happening in the room,
how you said we're looking? You said that to you?
As a former principal, and now coach of many principals, my idea, my concept behind OSG as well is about replicating myself as much as possible. So the great things that I did as a principal, let me try and replicate as much as possible. Hence, you can see in front of you what this looks like. But for you, I need you to be able to understand the importance.
How many people signed up?
Not only being I'm glad you were the first.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to be the only. I want you to go out and bring more of them in the OSG fam
Gotcha.
But for them to see what it's about, because those of us here, we recognize that what we do is about what's happening for the generation behind us. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we have to do it. Make sure the car goes through. We have to fix a broken system now, but we also got to provide an opportunity for our young people as well to see what greatness looks like. And it doesn't look like something that's unattainable, unachievable, and things like that. Crystal Joy, I know you had your hand up as well. You had something to say to the young Kim.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Ja, for sharing your words of wisdom. But one thing that I want to add is that exposure is everything. What we're talking about is cultural responsive education, and that's very important for our young people. It's important for them to know and understand that it's not just about the month of February or Black History Month. They need to know about people like Percy Julian, who is one of the first Black chemists who got his doctorate degree. They need to know about people who are enthralled in science and are very educated that look like us. They need to have that exposure early on, not just this month, but every month. And so that's very important for them. And again, it starts in elementary school. The K-12 pipeline, it starts from early introduction. You need to develop partnerships. You need to tap into these legislative offices and get the funding for our students to be able to have this exposure. There are STEM academies in New York. There are different programs for Black engineers. And these are the things that we need to be looking into for our youth. And when you see that your children have this aspiration to become a scientist or to look into science, you need to feed that. You need to feed that. It's very important.
And to add to that, I did take delivery. So this year, starting next month, I mentioned it before, but we have a street esteem program in Delaware right now. I did it in Philly, but in Delaware, where I'm located, where we're taking underserved populations, and we're actually doing exactly what you said. We keep it year round, and then we hopefully, and that's what I was telling Dennis before, I do want to bring it to OSG, because not just thank y'all for helping me, but I also want to also bring something to the table to actually bring that experience, to teach kids to understand that they can do it and they will do it, because we're here and we're going to help them through it. So we started in next month, and we hopefully with the data we'll bring it to them, and from there we can go in that route. So definitely, and it's a partnership with the Delaware Department of Ed. So I already called. They want me to do something. I said, all right, I need the funding, because I want to make sure that I take care of people, and it's not just about me, but I have a team that actually understand that we're doing this for the kids, to make sure that we understand that STEM is here, chemistry is here, and they need to know. So by the time they get to school or higher learning or whatever career they have, if it's not traditional, that they can thrive in this STEM economy that we have. And not just that, they expose and have mentors, because it's like a mentor program. They have mentors that they can lean on, say, hey man, I'm stressing, I don't know what to do. And we're like, okay, young king, young queen, this is what we're going to do. So I did that, and we partnered with my alma mater, Delaware State, to bring that. So I'm funny you actually said that, but I want to bring that also to OSG, to make sure that we get it in New York as well, and many other areas. But we're doing a pilot next month.
That's what's up. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for that. Hey, Principal Rockmonitor. I don't usually see my hand up that much. Principal Rockmonitor, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm typically a listener, but I love this conversation, because science is near and dear to my heart. And I think, just to add on to the last comment that we just heard, I think, we can talk about, like, we need it in the younger classes, the younger grades. The ownership is on us as leaders. We have to make sure that that's a priority. The charge is on us to ensure that we're, yes, we have mandates of making sure our kids pass certain assessments, ELA and math. But if we don't make it a priority to put STEAM in our school, to make sure that we expose our scholars to project-based learning, then we're setting them up. We can point our hands to everybody, but it's us. We're setting them up for failure. So when we get to that high school level, I think if anything this pandemic has taught us, it is the classroom without walls. So we don't have to wait and ask the chemists to come into our classrooms. We can open up our classrooms to them because they have real jobs. And so we want our students to have that practical experience. So let's open up the classrooms to the chemists via technology so that we're still giving our kids a fighting chance and not waiting until high school. It's sad. I see we pour our money all into like middle or high. We do a disservice when we don't think about our younger scholars, but that's where they're growing, developmentally. That's where they're really soaking in all those things that are going to shape them. And if we don't shape them now, then we're setting them up for failure for the future. So thinking about like, how do we bring project-based learning into the elementary setting? How do we bring STEAM into the elementary setting? How do we open up our classrooms, open up our schools? So it's this idea that we open it up to the community, tap into the resources that are there and not waiting for people to come to us. We have that responsibility as leaders. Good, I'm sorry.
You are truly the epitome of teaching without walls. Like whether it's from your home, whether it's in the park. I saw your skit. I think it was with Shirley Chisholm.
Shirley Chisholm, yeah. yeah.
Shirley Chisholm yesterday. And I think that you, even as a school leader, have embodied a person who recognizes that even if your children physically aren't in your building, that you're going to do everything that you can to show them and to teach them the importance of like excellence. And so, those of you who did not get the chance to go and see her yesterday on Instagram and her skit with Shirley Chisholm, I think you would be amazed at how amazing she is every day. But yesterday really allowed me to see, what great educators would do to make sure that their young people actually reach a level of success. And if she as a principal can do it, then there's no excuse for people not taking the time to give those kids those opportunities. And
that was the idea behind it. I teach in a urban area. I teach in Camden, New Jersey, but my staff they're almost 80% Caucasian women. But there's always this excuse that we can't. And so the idea, lead by example. If I can sit there and engage, I went to every classroom and did a read aloud to the class. But my objective was to model the expectation that I expect of my teachers, to set that standard. If I'm doing it, if I'm putting this technology in place, I don't need to do it. But I do it because I want to lead by example, and I want to be able to speak the language to my teachers so that they know what engagement looks like, even in a remote setting. Our kids majority of what I'm finding is our kids are thriving in this setting. It's the adults that are struggling, but our kids are really thriving in this setting, but we have to create this system so that they can be successful. We're holding them back. It's not them. We are holding them back. And so trying to remove those barriers so that, we're constantly just feeding them to the next level. Because I don't believe in a deficit mentality. I don't have that mentality. I believe that whatever situation we find ourselves in, we're going to, rise to the top, because that's the type of human beings our Black and brown children are.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.